fight fans, welcome to another edition of Boxing for Real. I'm your host, Don Omega. The Iron Truth couldn't be here today for this one, so I'm going to do it alone this time. It'll be okay though, don't worry. Anyhow, today I'm going to cover the Bantamweight division and below. It's the most underappreciated area in boxing, the lighter weights, that's 118 and down. Goes from bantamweight all the way down to strawweight or minimum weight, depending where you're at. Let's go. Okay, first fighter I want to talk about today is Rafael Marquez. He's in the bantamweight division. He's the best fighter from 118 down. No one's going to beat him. No one has beat him in a while. He was the man to dethrone a man named Tim Austin, who at the time looked unbeatable. He basically took over this man's career, and he knocked the man out. It looked like Tim Austin was on his way to another victory. Austin had been undefeated for quite a while, had been just dominating the bantamweights, and then all of a sudden this guy, Rafael Marquez, comes in, knocks him out in the 8th round. He went out, and ever since then Marquez has been on top. Tim Austin, on the other hand, he's had some legal issues, and it basically ruined his career. Way to go, Rafael Marquez, I guess. But then there's also Mark Johnson. He got knocked out by Marquez as well. Marquez, unbeatable at the weight. And at the weight also is Johnny Gonzalez, who just beat Fernando Montiel. On points, I didn't agree with the decision. I thought Montiel did enough to win. But it's probably a blessing in disguise for Fernando Montiel, because now he gets to not fight Rafael Marquez. Johnny Gonzalez has to go in there and fight him and get his head knocked off. And that's my pick. I think Rafael Marquez within about 8 rounds. Another guy I wanted to mention was Hasegawa. I've seen highlights of him. I've seen one fight of his. He looked impressive. Could he beat Marquez? No. He got hit way too much to be able to take on Marquez and provide a threat. Hasegawa, he's based overseas in the Pacific Rim somewhere. We probably got Takuyama, sorry. I have seen this guy fight. He doesn't have a lot of power, but he's a slickster. Seems to be a good fighter, and he beat the Kawashima guy twice. Martin Castillo, super flyweights. This guy is one of the best super flyweights. One coming up, probably coming up. He announced he's probably coming up. That's Jorge Arce. Looking forward to that. Jorge Arce is one of the best guys in this weight class, this weight area as well, super fly to flyweight. He's one of the best there. Another guy I really like is Won Jung Kim. I've seen some of his fights. I've seen about 3 of his fights. He's looked impressive. He's the one guy around the flyweight area that I would think would have the best shot at beating Arce. Him and up at super flyweight, Martin Castillo would have a good chance, and I really like his chances of beating him. Moving on, there's also Vic Darchinyan. You probably saw Vic Darchinyan recently on on the Showtime card where it was supposed to be Corrales and Castillo. Vic Darchinyan ended up being the main event when Castillo failed to make weight, and subsequently Corrales failed to be a man and just go ahead and fight anyhow, using the weight as an excuse, which I don't buy, but that's another day, another time, another topic. Anyhow, Vic Darchinyan fought, and he also fought a guy named Gavi who looked like he would be okay, and he knocked both these guys out. He's got power, but he's what some would call raw, and not a lot of skill I'm seeing there. It's not very good, and I don't see him beating Arce. I think Arce's work rate is way too great for him. He would just embarrass Vic Darchinyan. And I hope that fight gets made. I hope Darchinyan fights him or Won Jung Kim. I would love that. Also, Koki Kamita. I've seen 2 fights of this guy, and I've seen a couple highlights of him. And this guy, he's the next big thing out of Japan, they think. The next little big man from Japan. And he's 10-0 now. He's knocking everyone out. He's got a couple relatives, too, trying to get in the game. I think he's doing great. Look forward to seeing him fight. They might push him too fast. That's one thing I worry about a lot of the Asian fighters. They don't wait around. 10 fights, 11 fights, 12 fights, they're ready for a title shot. They don't wait around. They don't play around, especially in these divisions, I guess, where there's not a lot of well-known competition outside of the Asian area. They get it on. And Koki Kamita he's a couple fights away from a title shot. And don't be surprised if this guy comes out of nowhere and beats someone like Victor Chinyan. Also, let's move on down to junior flyweight, where the only guy around is Brian Viloria. That's the only guy there that I know of, unless someone I'm about to mention comes up. Brian Viloria is, class on his own in this division. He either needs to move up or he needs to get a fight made with Ivan Calderon, who is the strawweight, the best strawweight in the United States. Best strawweight in the world, I'm not so convinced. There's a guy I like better than Ivan Calderon. Calderon, Puerto Rican, he's a slickster, he's got a style I really like. He's my second favorite strawweight, but he doesn't have... I think there's a guy that's a little better than him named Eagle Koya, and Eagle is basically he's the champion as far as I'm concerned in the weight division right now. He holds the WBC strawweight title while Calderon holds the WBO. Now, in Japan, they only recognize the WBC and the WBA titles. Eagle has it right now. I think him and Calderon should fight. I don't see them fighting, though. I really don't see them fighting. It's not because they're ducking each other. It's just they're on other sides of the world, and I doubt they even know that much about each other. I haven't even read any indication that they plan on fighting each other. The third best guy at strawweight is probably Rodel Mayol, who just fought Eagle back in May, and what a fight it was. It was a back-and-forth fight. It looked like Rodel Mayol was going to get him out of there, but Eagle managed to show championship heart, championship spirit. He turned it around and did enough to win. He won convincingly, and he did get injured in the match, but he did win the fight, and he really did win the fight. Calderon still hasn't fought anyone great. Getting back to Calderon, he's fought everyone out there that's over in the U.S. Can't take that from him. He did beat Isaac Bustos, who Bustos beat Eagle Koya, but Koya had an injured shoulder going into the fight, and that's the only reason Bustos even won that fight. And even the consensus in Japan and Asia and everywhere, they'll tell you, it was just because of his injury. So you can't really hold that against Koya. He fought anyhow. He shouldn't have fought, but he did, and he lost. But he has fought the best competition so far between him and Calderon, and that's why I gotta like Eagle more. And I do like his style a little more. He's a little more engaging, and I would pick him to beat Calderon. How? I don't know. I think he'd take him out probably late, probably around the 10th, 11th round. Calderon is a slick fighter, so it'd be the best fight to be made there. Hopefully we can get it made. I doubt it, but hey, who knows? There's no one around there, so unless one of these guys steps up, moves up in weight, they've got to fight each other eventually, hopefully. I think it's on Calderon to go after Eagle. He needs to get ranked in the WBC, which is the best known title out there. It's the most recognized title of the fringe titles that there are and such. And, yeah, so that's that. There was one more guy I was going to mention. I've got a friend who, he lived in Arizona. He moved to Japan. He weighed around 200, 210, somewhere in there. Whenever he moved over there, he moved to Japan. He's now around 150 pounds. He's dropping weight. He's trying to get to 130 pounds and become a fighter. This guy, he was going over there to teach. Now he's going to become a fighter. And good luck with that, man. His name is Justin Moriarty. Sorry, I call him Para J-Mo. He knows who he is. He's the digital Don King. And look for him. He's going to be on the horizon pretty soon. Well, maybe. I don't know. We'll have to see how good his chin is. But he's gotten into a gym down there that sounds pretty good over in Japan, and he's fighting with the guy that's called Japan's Next Great Hope. Has been just recently called that. The man's name is Kuroki, and this guy, he just recently fought, and he won his fight in amazing fashion, came out well, and hope the best for him. He's looking to fight for the Ocean Pacific belt in the near future, and we'll have to see how that goes. He might be Japan's next hope. He might be one of these guys that gets in there with Eagle or Rodel Maidol, or hopefully it'd be nice if he could come over to the States and fight Ivan Calderon, or invite Calderon over and get these guys together. Also, if anyone wants to email in some questions, we're going to start a mailbag. I wish Iron Truth were here right now so we could announce it together, but yes, we are starting a mailbag. You can email us at boxing4real@gmail.com. That's boxing, numeral 4, real@gmail.com. Hopefully I'll be able to display it across the screen either in the credits or right here. We'll see. And that's pretty much the gist of everyone I was wanting to talk about. Okay, today I just want to mention real quickly Dominick Guinn last night. Man, he is done. Get him out of there. He is finished. He needs to find a new career. He is no longer a legitimate contender in the heavyweight division. He proved that once and for all last night when he lost to Tony the Tiger Thompson. Thompson looked like nothing more than a guy. He just looked like a big club fighter, and that's what he was, really. They were trying to hype him a little on the show with that record he had, 27-1 or whatever it was. But he did anyone that saw this fight, that was the best shape he had been in the past 4.5, 5 years, according to the commentators on TV. If that's the best shape he's been in the last 4.5, 5 years, I would hate to see what he looked like before then. And he still beat Guinn. Guinn, you're done. Give it up. See you next time. We'll be doing more special shows like